A Webster Parish man has lost his life following a fight on Shreveport City streets. NBC 6 News has exclusively obtained video of what led up to that incident and who initiated the confrontation. Good evening and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Dan Jovic. Shreveport police say their investigation into an assault outside of a nightclub is now a homicide investigation. It is our top story tonight. The surveillance video obtained exclusively by NBC 6 News shows what unfolded.
Right, I'm going to stop it right there. What do we see? What's going on here? Like, MC, I know you're getting information just now. I've seen this. What does it look like? What's going on here? Let's break this down.
Oh, my bad. I was sitting up here yapping the whole time on mute. I see man law violations. That's what I see. I see men arguing with women, which is a huge no. Don't argue with them, especially if the point where they're like that. Look at that finger, man. She's being disrespectful
in your face.
Yeah. So right away, you got a decision to make because she's trying to escalate it. So either you're going to escalate with her or you're going to exit the conversation.
Yeah.
You can't win arguing with a woman because even if you defeat her, she's just going to lean back into being a woman again. And, oh, I'm a woman. Why are you being so hard on me? So you can't win. So just walk away.
Yeah, certified strikes. Yeah, she got her finger in the face. These guys, like, look, you're right. When the wagging is in the face, the pause, when that happens, you already know, like, you got to walk away. You just got to get out of it. Not to mention, I don't know where his homeboys are at, but these two guys right here, it's not gonna work out for somebody. Spoiler alert.
Shows what unfolded on a public sidewalk on Sunday, January 26th, just after 5:30 in the morning. The video shows 25-year-old Trevor Moses apparently getting into an argument with several women. 43-year-old Christopher Temple, who is wearing the white baseball hat, steps in and directs the women away from that.
Look at that. Look, this guy moves the women, tries to de-escalate. I don't know if you even know these women. What is your place? Why are you even doing this? Why are you involved with trying to corral these women? If they get knocked out, then it happens. Or if the dude gets knocked out or he gets arrested, and then it happens. Like, you cannot, men in general, you cannot be out here trying to put a cape on and save these strags from themselves. She wanted to argue with this guy over whatever. He wanted to be this old boy in the hoodie. He wanted to continue the argument. And you got Captain over here trying to corral these women, and she's still talking mess. Like I say right here, she's still talking.
I don't have a problem with this because, first of all, I wouldn't do it. First of all, I've told the story before on this podcast of a DV dispute that I tried to break up, and they both turned around and jumped me.
Right.
So for reasons like that, the most you're going to get from me is I'm either going to let security know or I'm going to call the police. Regardless, he made the decision to, get these women out of here. Maybe he saw that this was escalating too much and he wanted to be proactive. He did it in a non-violent way. Maybe he knows these women. And I don't know. I don't have the context here, but so far I don't have a problem with it.
Well, if he doesn't know them, I mean, I think that looks really bad, honestly.
Yeah, if he doesn't know them, then he's putting himself at risk a little bit because you don't know how either side can react to him.
Right.
Argument. The group then walks on North Spring Street towards Travis Street. That's when the video shows Christopher Temple punching Trevor Moses as Moses is talking to another man. According to police, the men continue to fight for several minutes until Moses.
You see it? You see it?
Yeah.
Go back. Go back.
Until Moses hit Temple in the face.
Oh, actually, let me go back a little.
The men continue to fight for several minutes until Moses hit Temple in the face and Temple hit his head on the concrete on Commerce Street. He was taken to
audience.
To the hospital.
The guy that they're talking about that hit his head on the concrete is this guy, the one that did the sucker punch, the one that was trying to corral the women because they were getting into an argument. That's the guy. And now these women are going home to somebody else. This is ridiculous. You do a sucker punch and you get laid out, man. It's just bad all the way around. A lot of people lost. You'll see at the end of the story, but a lot of people lost on this night because they wanted to be captains and save these women from themselves. This doesn't happen for men. Men, you get out of pocket, you get laid out, or you're gonna have to lay somebody out.
I suspect that these women, again, I ask this question all the time. Call it misogynistic if you want. Whose protection are these women under?
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's some protection there with them, then that he needs to be doing his job.
Yeah.
This dude tried to de-escalate and eventually ended up being deleted because if I'm understanding this right, the guy they were initially arguing with knocked him out to the point where his head hit the concrete.
Yeah, they're a little vague on how he's hit because they made it sound like there were more people involved. Of course, looking like this video, it doesn't look like there was more people involved other than himself, though. But this guy who lost his life trying to be captain, he's in his 40s trying to save these strags. Like I don't know if he had a family or whatever it is, but you gave up your life for what? Over nothing? And once you get a little bit further, we'll see the other side of the fallout from this. But that's just ridiculous. You're in your 40s, and I ain't got no problem with you going to the club or if you're trying to, put hands on hips or whatever it is. Shout out to CGA. I ain't got a problem with any of that stuff. But you can't be doing this stuff. You just can't be. This is just bad. This guy was even trying to de-escalate. He didn't walk over there. Well, actually, I can't remember if he did walk over there. Yeah, he did walk over there. Okay, but.
Let me ask you this: do you think these women feel any remorse about any of this?
Hell no. They ain't gonna have to go to jail. They're not gonna have to do anything.
Oh yeah, they're not going to get any type of punishment. But
They escalated that argument. They're just as culpable. I mean, I know a lot of people gonna be like, well, you can't blame them. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we doing that on here. At least I am. Like, they were
you
just as
kind of
involved
have
as your
to
adult.
because being a woman comes with responsibility. We just talked about that we are supposed to give them more grace, which in my opinion the guy did. Because if a guy puts his finger in my face like that, there might be some furniture moving. I ain't
Oh
even gonna
man.
lie.
Yeah.
But
Women,
these are women, so he kind of showed a little bit of restraint.
yeah, that's
But
true too.
I don't, just looking at this video, not seeing it in its entirety and not hearing the conversation, these women were the start of this.
Yeah.
And I tell the young men that I mentor this: a woman has the power to inspire. In this case, they inspired this guy to kind of save them and remove them, and
Yes.
ultimately he got deleted for that.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
is crazy.
And the other thing too that I just realized is I don't know what I don't know what that guy said to him, but he didn't put any. I didn't see anything, him pushing him or anything getting in his face. For the most part, old boy in the hoodie, he was kind of cool about it. I don't like how he handled the situation, how he followed the women to continue, egging on the conversation. But for the most part, I mean, he was just standing there, just talking to him, still arguing with them. And then old boy lost his cool. He had a simp moment. This is what we call death by simp. And I'm not calling old boy in the hoodie a simp though, but he lost his life over simp behavior. Like that ain't. This is something that whether in your 20s or I mean even with young boys, y'all gotta do better than this. Like this stuff is still happening in 2025 over women arguing because they're being dumb. They don't have to be held accountable to any the fallout after we get to the end of it. They don't have to be held accountable to any of this stuff, and y'all still giving y'all lives up for them.
You said
Ridiculous.
young boys, but I think that guy in the hoodie they said was 43. He's pretty close to my age.
Oh no, I thought they were talking about the dude in the ball cap. I thought they
Well,
said he was in his 40s.
okay, you might be right.
All right,
But and then the other thing is, look, man, as a man, you want to be around women and you want to get some action, but
this ain't it.
you might want to find some alternative options outside of the club, man.
Right.
Because in the club, you got a lot of people that are competing with each other. You're in a space where you don't know everybody, you don't know the layout. You got people that are drinking, and all of that is just a formula for disaster.
Yeah.
I've been in clubs both in my home state of Nebraska and in Arizona where I've seen people get knocked out like that. And what people don't understand is fighting is very, especially on concrete. There's a very high probability, especially if you're dealing with somebody who has no control. You can be deleted for this. If your head hits that concrete
It's a
from
wrap.
one solid punch, and even if you aren't deleted, there could still be internal bleeding. There could be nerve damage.
Yeah.
Like you really gotta choose carefully how you're gonna deal with stuff like this. That being said, I understand sometimes when men can't solve problems, sometimes hands gotta be thrown.
Mm.
Okay, go find some grass, go find some soft surface. In perfect world, everybody would have a pair of boxing gloves in their car. Then that way you can just put them on, get it out the way,
Piece
then
them
y'all
up.
go on about y'all business. But that ain't the kind of world we live in right now.
No.
Hospice, where he died on February 15th. Moses has been arrested for second-degree battery. Police are working with the district attorney's office to see if more charges will be filed.
So he got arrested. He got arrested. So
Dang, they only gave him battery though. They technically could have gave him second degree murder, but they only gave
yeah,
him battery.
I don't think he'll end up like these charges are going to stick after that video. So I don't know if they had that video at the beginning, but I definitely don't think those charges are going to stick. But the point is, now your face is out there, your government name is out there, and it's attached to this case. It's There's nothing like, even if you beat the charges, it's still, your potential employers, they look this up, they're going to say like, hey, what happened here? Like, a lot of them are not going to want to wait to get more context on what really happened. Some of them are just going to make a decision. So is this the best thing for your legacy, for your name? No. But all because you couldn't walk away for a woman, and you didn't lose your life, but you got arrested. Your mugshot is up here. And the crazy thing is, they didn't put the mugshot, I mean, not the mugshot, but a picture of the other guy that was up here that escalated the situation as well too. And none of the women, I mean, they really got away from the women. They try to look. He got into an argument with a couple of women, blah blah blah. That's actually the biggest part of the story, and that should tell a lot of people like, hey, nothing's promised. And you get into an argument, you don't know how that stuff is going to play out.
So another thing, this was Shreveport, Louisiana, second degree battery. I'm looking at Louisiana.gov right now. Possible penalties: a fine of up to 2,000, imprisonment for up to 8 years, with or
Yes,
without hard labor, with a minimum time served of 18 months. So
yeah,
at the very least, he's going away for a year and a half
yeah.
if convicted guilty. So again, the question is, was it worth it? Was
No,
it
yeah.
worth your freedom?
No, nope. And this reminds me of the Daniel Penny case, the subway rider in New York, where there was the I don't know, the guy was having a mental attack or whatever, mental awareness or whatever they want to call it, however they want to describe it. But dude was acting crazy on the train and got into some people's faces. Some men stepped up. Daniel Penny was the one who put him in a chokehold, and it resulted in the guy dying, unfortunately, or getting deleted. So, and his case actually got was dropped. Actually, he not dropped. He was found not guilty. And I think for a lot of people in New York, I'm not from New York, but from the folks up in New York, I hear these conversations all the time. Subway people in the subway, they got to worry about being assaulted. They had that situation where that woman was set on fire on the subway train, and people just watched. So it's not like the subways are safe. But again, people are going to say like, "Oh, you can't do anything about that. You can't even, if somebody's having a mental breakdown or whatever, you got to be understanding." Like, no, you don't. When men have to be men, have to be that, get that masculine energy out. This is what's going to happen. And if you don't know how to control that, or at least in this case with the Shreveport, you don't know how to control that, you can end up losing your life, which one guy did, and potentially have to beat some charges. And same thing with Daniel Penny. Danny Penny had just sat there. Who knows what that guy would have done? The guy could have stabbed one of the train riders. There was some, like, a woman on there. He was kind of getting in her face. That kind of led to the guy getting choked. But again, you don't know what's going to happen. But it's like, you got to have, first of all, you got to have some type of protection around you. So if you're not going to be 2A, or if your state doesn't allow a concealed carry, then you better not be going to places by yourself without having your boyfriend, husband, or whatever, some type of protection, because your girlfriends, they're not going to help you. They're not going to stop a guy from like cracking all right, I'm going too far.
Yeah, and for the record, just because you are 2A doesn't mean you can't exercise your Second
Oh
Amendment
yeah,
just
yeah,
because somebody beat you up. That's not enough. You have to prove that your life was in danger.
that's
But
true
I
too.
do want to pivot and tell a story that kind of ties to what happens when you lack control, because it kind of ties to this just a little bit. So I've said this before, but I have my concealed carry permit, and my instructor is a 2A attorney. He's kind of a jerk, but he gives good information. He'll give you good answers to questions. We watched a video.
Or does he watch the podcast?
Even if he does, he's a jerk. He knows he's a jerk. We watched the video. There was an altercation at a Walmart here in Arizona about 6 years ago between a black man and a white man. I don't know the words that were said, but for some reason, it was something was said to the point where they were both ignited enough to start fighting in the Walmart. I'm talking about punches thrown,
Yeah, grown
exchanges,
men.
etc. Essentially, or eventually, I should say, the white man calls the black dude the N word. So that escalates it to another level. So now the fighting gets more aggressive. Black dude loses his temper, starts to put the white dude in a chokehold. Guess what? A chokehold can be considered my life is in danger. So what do you think the white man did?
Oh,
Pulled his
pull
pistol
it.
out and deleted him right there
Yep,
at the
skinny pop
Walmart in
out.
front of everybody. Now, he didn't go to jail because he was able to successfully prove that hey, he had me in a chokehold. He was choking me. I thought my life was in danger, so I did what I had to do. So I say all that to say, if you are a man, you have a greater responsibility to control yourself and assess the situation
Got a
before
lot
you
to
react.
lose.
You have a lot to lose. Absolutely, you do.
Yeah, not to mention your family's depending on you. Like as much as some folks may say, like even with Daniel Penny, because part, part of the reason with Daniel Penny, I mean, I don't think he definitely got put in a really bad situation because he was saving people and he was villainized. This is the thing. Daniel Penny had like a wife or something, or he had a family or whatever. He was saving people's lives, I mean, I'll say he was saving people's life. He could have easily lost his life. Like, had we had the same, like, had that jury thought of something a little bit different, or had I been a jury that's not familiar with some of the subways, what goes on the subway, he could have easily been thrown into jail because they tried to make it a race issue in that particular case. I don't think it was a race issue. I just think it was just, hey, there's just two people or it was multiple people involved. But unfortunate result in the homeless guy's death. But again, it's like you gotta think about either your family or whoever depends on you, and if this is like something worth it because we've seen too many stories and we have a lot of graveyards and funeral homes filled never going to lose business because you have dumb people doing stuff like this.
I'm gonna just end on this point too. If I can control your emotions, I can control you. If something that comes out of my mouth enrages you enough to affect the rest of your night, and this
Hmm.
ties to the comedian that last story we talked about too. I am in control of you. So at the very least, you need to balance yourself to the point where how people feel about you or what words they use to describe you does not affect you.
Right.
I'm telling you, that's one thing you really need to work on. You have to get yourself to a point where you don't care what other people say or think about you. My philosophy is as long as you don't touch me, I'm good. As long as you don't touch me, we're good. I'm gonna go on about my business. You can talk all the trash you want. Just stay out of my personal space and we're good.
Fox. All right. Next topic.